Good morning. Good morning, Chicago. What a wonderful Saturday morning. I'm your host, LaDonna Ray. And of course, I host alongside with our president and CEO, Dr. Larry Ivory, but he is out today. Condolences to him and his family. However, I have our guest host in with us, which is actor, director, writer, and everything else entertainment and human rights, Mr. Lorenzo T. Hughes in the building.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
And welcome. Also, as you know, the Wake Up Show Chicago comes on each and every Saturday. That's 9 a.m. on WVON 1690. And we are powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. But most importantly, we are sponsored by Wind Creek Casino Southland. Shout out to them out there in Homewood. We're talking development, decision making, and direction, the kind that shapes communities and futures. And that is what ilbcc.org is all about. Today, we will be joined by Aaron Gunn, who is an associate managing principal of IDG Architects, one of the premier Black owned K through 12 and higher education architecture firms in Illinois. Now, that's heavy hitting right there. But alongside, I want to make sure that we're going to move into talking to attorney Robert Johnson, because he's going to unpack the PACs, the PAC program, when it comes to the chamber. And then we'll move on to the 12 committees, because we've got 12 months ahead of us, which means we got some work to do for 2026. So, with that in mind, let's get going. I want to go ahead and get our guest online. Aaron, good morning, Mr. Gunn. How are you today? There we go. All right, you're live, Aaron. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, LaDonna. How are you doing this morning?
Man, it is, any day above ground is a grantastic day.
I heard that.
And you, sir?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I had a beautiful holiday with my family and enjoying my time over the holidays with loved ones. So I'm blessed.
All right. Well, speaking of blessed, I know you're going to bless us with some information so that we can take it away with us in 2025 and bring it over to 2026.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So should I just jump right into it?
Man, we can't wait.
Okay, excellent. So let me start off by giving a critical date. January 5th, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. In Waukegan, Illinois, at the Waukegan Housing Authority office, which is located at 1707 North McGarry Road in Waukegan. There will be a job fair and pre-bid informational meeting for the upcoming project of the Harry Poe Manor renovation project, which is being executed by the Waukegan Housing Authority, in partnership with Bear Real Estate Development. It's about a $27 million project. It'll be about a 2-year time frame, and they are very adamant about having diverse participation on this project. So this Monday, January 5th, there's an opportunity for any interested contractor, laborer, or really any interested party to attend a meeting and get information about this upcoming large project. Total dollar amount is going to be $27 million.
Nice. And you said that was what date? I want to make sure we hear that.
January 5th.
January 5th. Got it. Now,
Yep.
how do people, let's get into the weeds of this, because I know someone listening is going, hey, I want a piece of the pie. What are the steps they need to take to make sure and ensure that they are able to participate in something like this?
Well, I would strongly recommend attending the meeting if you can. If you cannot attend the meeting, then you definitely need to reach out directly to Dr. Ivory or the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce Construction Committee, and we can connect you with some of the folks that are engaged with the project in Waukegan, namely the construction management firm, which is handling the project, and that is Construction Management Associates. We have information from them that we can pass along to any interested party. It basically gets you connected with the people who are going to be making decisions and writing the checks for this project.
Now, Aaron, why would someone want to share this type of merit? This $27 million. Why wouldn't one company want to just keep it for themselves? What are the possibilities of what is the benefit of sharing this information?
Well, it's twofold. The first thing is the Waukegan Housing Authority, which is led by the executive director Charles Chambers and their esteemed board of commissioners. They've set a goal on this project, and their goal is to have at least a 20% minority participation on the project. And they're very, very serious about that. So they are really driving everyone that's involved to take that goal seriously. And they're taking all the steps that any public entity can take to try to reach that goal. So that's the first part. That's why we're sharing it, because those goals are real. And everybody that's participating in it understands that. And we know we need to push to try to reach those goals. Secondly, the construction management firm, who is essentially, for lack of a better word, the GC on the project, they don't self-perform any work. They do project management and administration, but when it comes to the trades and actually being in the space executing the work, they don't do that. So they need all the trades to participate so they can get the job done. You know, they need electricians, they need carpenters, they need plumbers, they need painters, they need, you name it, they need it. So there's a huge opportunity there.
Nice. And thank you for pointing that out, because I know we have a myriad of listeners, not just contractors that do understand how this works, but we also have people out there that are thinking of getting into the contractor space. I definitely want to give Dr. DeAndre Rucker is our chairman of our construction committee at Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. So when you do reach out to our construction committee, that will be the person that is heading that up. And just so everyone knows, the information for calling the chamber is on our website. So if you go to ilbcc.org, you will find a contact form or the information to give us a call directly. And that phone number is 309 740 4430. And our email address is info@ilbcc.org. Now, you don't want to miss out on this. This is not a pipe dream. Aaron, thank you so much for eloquently pushing this information out so that our people know exactly how to participate. And I think that we can do a lot with 20% of this contract. Is that what you mentioned earlier, the 20% quota for minority-owned businesses or minority contractors?
Absolutely. There's a 20% goal for minority-owned businesses. And also there are laborer requirements. It's a HUD-funded project, so there's Section 3 requirements through HUD funding, where there has to be, if you don't own a business and you're looking to work for someone, they need to hire folks who meet Section 3 requirements as well. So there's opportunity on the business side if you own a business, and also if you're a laborer looking to find some work.
All right. I met one. I spoke to one just yesterday, I believe it was. His name was George Marsh. I know he's listening. So George, get on it. Mr. Marsh to me, because he's the father of a really dear friend of mine from grade school. Thank you so much, Aaron. Is there how can we reach out to you for the things that you're doing in 2026?
Sure. You can reach me via my email address. And I'm very open and available to talk to anyone or pass along information about the work that IDG does in Central Illinois and throughout the state. And I'll give you my email address now. It's A, as in my first name, Aaron, followed by my last name, Gunn. That's Gunn, at the @ symbol, IDG, Isaiah David Gary, Arch, just like the St. Louis Arch.com. So that's agun at idgarch.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And you know what? We're so proud of you. And we thank you for supporting the chamber the entire time. I tell you what, I am on the marketing committee. And when it comes to giving, or should I say, adding those logos of our supporters, I love the fact that IDG is always in the mix. Thank you for a wonderful year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to let you go. Guys, I hope you got that information. Thank you so much, Aaron from IDG Architects. This is no joke. This is the place where you are given the information. I know that you guys, this is a Waukegan opportunity, but this is still the state of Illinois. So make sure that you are ready and in the mix on January 5th. And if you can't make it, if you have some challenges, give us a call because life be lifing. Okay, I gave the phone number 309-740-4430. And speaking of phone numbers, you can give us a call. That's 773-591-1690 right here on the Wake Up Show Chicago. We do not bite, we take calls. Make sure you call in and you can comment on our Facebook. You can certainly share the Facebook show, or should I say the Facebook Live. Make sure you share that so that the more people that you share it with, the more information can be spread. And that's what we're here to do. Larry Ivory, absolutely make sure that this show is on each and every week so that you guys have even more information through Black media. Okay. I feel like I've been here every day this week with the exception of Christmas, but it's because Black media is so important, and it's important for you all to understand how to get connected and how to get those contracts. All right, I'm going to get our next guest on. I'm so excited that attorney Robert Johnson is in the mix with us. Now, Robert Johnson he's a grounded individual, very cool, okay, but he's about that business. We are joined by attorney Robert Johnson with the Solomon Group, and it's all about understanding how political power has always been organized and protected and funded in this country. But from Reconstruction to the modern civil rights era, we can go on and on. But Attorney Johnson specializes in helping you all today understand the Political Action Committee. Good morning, Robert, attorney
Yes,
Robert Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you for having me on the show to talk about the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce Political Action Committee and some of our collaboration partners. I truly appreciate the opportunity. How are you doing today?
Doing swell-tastic, sir. And you know what? Lorenzo's on today. You are very familiar with him.
Good morning.
And I know you guys like to...
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well.
I was going to say, I know you guys like to pal it up, so I just wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to say hello this morning.
That's my guy.
All right. So the Political Action Committee, what does that mean to us? What is, the moment we hear the word politics, political, anything politically referenced, the everyday average listener may want to kind of turn a blind eye or be just overwhelmed with the information. But you have some information that we can all benefit from.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, especially given the state of the way politics is today, particularly coming out of Washington, it's easy to be upset, angry, feeling disenfranchised. But, unfortunately, we have to continue to struggle. This has been our existence since we arrived in this country, is fighting for opportunity, fighting for a seat at the table, fighting for basic human rights, and now also economic rights. And so the Political Action Committee is an arm of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, and it's an initiative to hold Black politicians accountable to the Black community, to make sure that our agenda, that our interests are protected and advanced, and that there's somebody that is advocating for us. And so we're excited that we've developed a partnership with the BLC and a number of other, which is the Business Leadership Council, Chicago Urban League, the Chatham Business Association, the South Shore Chamber, the Austin African American Business Networking Association, the Black Women Lawyers Association, and the Black Men Lawyers Association, as well as a host of other organizations that are all committed to trying to advance the interests of Black business. And as you all know, this is heavily political season, and there are a number of candidates that are running for office at the congressional level, at the for different county, Cook County commissioners are running for office. And so we partner with these organizations so that we can have some forums to have the opportunity for the public, for you, the public, you, the business leaders in this community, to ask them questions and to find out what is their agenda to support and advance Black business. So the first one will be on Thursday, February 12th at 5:30 p.m. at the Empowerment Center, which is a new Urban League center in Chatham. That will feature folks who are running for the 2nd Congressional District. And then the second one will take place on February 19th at 5:30, which will be for the senatorial candidates, the individuals who are running for the Senate. So we really want to encourage folks to participate, to get involved, to understand what the issues are, so that you can have a voice and, again, as I said, a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm. I hear you say find out what their political agenda is. And when I hear you kind of connect the dots on holding the Black leaders accountable, all I think about are the organizations that have and I say our name is in Black, okay? That has been our name, our narrative. But what happens when someone gets in the office, because the agenda is that of a resume when you're applying for a job, right? You see what the job qualifications are. You adjust your resume so that you are more qualified or appear to be more qualified for that position. How do we hold them accountable in a way where, yes, they applied for the position, we believed the resume that they presented to us, they get into office, and now the work begins? How does that take place?
That's a great question. One of the things that we do, everybody knows in this country, money talks. So we raise money for those politicians that support our agenda. And we endorse those politicians that support our agenda. And so one of the ways that we hold folks accountable is what makes everybody listen is money, is supporting them financially or not. That's the name of the game in politics, is that one of the reasons why we have been left out, one of the reasons why they only come around, or folks feel like they only come around during election time, is because they're trying to raise money. And then you have their ears and you have their attention when you have their pocketbook. And so one of the things that we have to do as a business community is hold people accountable financially. Because to your point, a lot of people talk a good game, but you have to look at the receipts, as the young folks say. What is it that you've done in our community that advances Black business? We have one of the Blackest states in America in terms of our political leadership, but yet Black business still is not where it needs to be. And so we're combining the data, which proves our case in terms of where the opportunities are, whether it be in procurement, whether it be in access to capital, whether it be in opportunities to chair important institutions and organizations within our community that can advance our community, and policies that impact our ability to thrive, to close the racial wealth gap, to start businesses, to receive the same type of tax breaks that these large corporations receive, to make it easier for us to get in business, to reduce some of the fees associated with being in business. These are all of the things that we evaluate our politicians on, and those that are in lockstep with us, those are the ones that we support and continue to educate and shine light on those who are not doing things that are in the interest of our community. And so that's how we hold them accountable by, one, as they say back in the day, speaking truth to power, but also more equally importantly is with our financial resources. There's two ways that you can make your presence heard. One is through the vote, but there's also through the dollar. Politicians are keen to look at both of those. Once they get your vote, then they're looking for your dollars.
Mr. Johnson, let me say this. And I guess I got a kind of a statement and a question for you. Like, I agree with everything you're saying, and I agree with the idea of accountability and using our funds as our voice. But when we look on the international stage, right? Because right now, here locally, in this country, I think we all can agree that it's a struggle trying to hold people accountable. It's something that I think we've been doing for a very long time, trying to hold people accountable. But when we look at like the international stage, like when we look at international law, with that being such a complex component globally, looking at global relations and how it governs like interactions between like sovereign states, for example, and various international entities. How does that get in the way of Black business trying to develop relationships globally across the waters and stuff and things like that? Are we bound, or is there some type of restriction that's holding us from being able to have our own global relations, or do we have
Absolutely
to become
not.
like it doesn't?
Absolutely not. And I'm glad you raised that point, because that's where, in my view, the opportunity exists. Unfortunately, there's the same playbook that has been used against us for centuries is being used again because it works. And that is the playbook of division, making us think that we are a minority, making us think that we have no allies, making us feel that we are not connected to the diaspora, that we can't reach across the pond to our brothers and sisters who, by the way, want to do business with us, who want to have relationships with us. Now, obviously, there are issues to the point that you raised that, not everybody is on board, but the key is to find those who are willing to work with you, and those who are willing to partner with you, and those that are willing to share resources. Just a few days ago, the United States bombed Nigeria under the pretext of protecting Christians. Now, ask yourself, when has the United States, particularly this administration, ever been concerned about any Black folks here in the United States, much less in Africa?
Absolutely.
They're looking at resources, natural resources, and they're trying to directly attack the Sahel relationship between Nigeria, Mali, and Burkina Faso, and go after Ibrahim Traoré. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that the United States is all of a sudden now have an interest in Africa? Because Africa has the youngest population in the world, the fastest growing middle class in the world, more entrepreneurs than any other country in the world. Over 1.5 billion people live in Africa. It has enough natural resources to power the entire world for the next 3,000 years. So the question is, why are we not looking, one, to help protect our brothers and sisters in Africa and grow those relationships? Because the folks in Africa are rich. And they're looking to invest here in the United States. And who better for them to invest with and alongside than their brothers and sisters who share that same DNA.
So let me ask this. So for this to be successful, right? Because you used the word "we" and that stood out to me. Now, we wouldn't have to try to push for becoming like a sovereign political institution to be able to successfully do this, or what would if we're going to refer to us as a we, is that something that we would have to try to push our politicians in pushing toward? Is that something that we would have to do as a separate entity? Is to build that type of relationship amongst ourselves and building a sovereign political institution?
Are our politicians even ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a both and. I think at this juncture in our state of affairs, we can't afford either or thinking. We have to do both and. We have to challenge our politicians to have an international focus, because if one of the things that we've seen here is that there's a effort by this administration to reduce funding and anything that even remotely looks black. And you got to go through all of these hoops and hurdles to try to continue to still do the work, but say you're not doing it for black people. Whereas we can develop trade relationships directly. You can call or develop a relationship with somebody or an organization in Africa or throughout the diaspora and do trade directly. Or one of the things if Larry were here, he was talking, we just had this conversation over the last several weeks in terms of our own trade agreement with Africa. Mm-hmm. We don't need anybody's permission to do that.
Right.
And we can have those direct contacts and contracts with entities in Africa. Listen, everything that we like to do in America, they like to do in Africa. I've been on this show before, and I said this: the next frontier is Africa. It is the place that by 2050, two out of five people in the world will be African. Mm-hmm. So that's where the opportunity is. That's where there's an opportunity for you to expand your business, to do partnerships, to sell your products, to outsource. If you got a business and you, instead of going to India or China to try to get stuff cheaper, you can do it in Africa. Mm-hmm. And so that global mindset is what we have to have, because we've been bamboozled to believe that we're the minority. No, we're not the minority.
Exactly.
Right.
We never have been the minority. The vast majority of people on this planet are people of color by far. And so why wouldn't we have natural linkages with people that look like us, have a shared history, shared values, and a shared future from a prosperity standpoint?
And this real quick, Donna, Mr. Johnson, like I agree, like I said, I totally agree with everything you're saying. I guess where I develop a little bit of fear in is like whenever we have a movement, a successful movement that takes place. Like let's say, for example, we started doing some type of trade with Africa, and and the powers that be see success in that. You'll always see some type of sanctions that'll take place. Is that something that we still can get around? Like, countries in Africa, Africa is a series of countries. What about countries that are under sanctions? Because sanctions is a tool that's always been used.
You're 100% right. There's always going to be pushback from the powers that be because they don't want exactly what it is that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But we're living under sanctions now.
Right.
If you're black in America, you're sanctioned now.
Right.
So, I don't know at what point in our history have we not been under sanctions. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't let that deter you, because that's exactly what they want. Is for us to, because you used the right word exactly, which is fear, and the definition of fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
And that's what they are masters at, is in terms of propagandizing us working with other people that look like us, because they want to tell you on the one hand that they have your best interests in heart. I got you. You don't need to go over there because those people are bad. But then you're turning around and you're doing worse things to me than anybody else I could possibly imagine doing. You're doing it to me right here in my own home. Deny that I actually had any existence in making this country what it is. Particularly when we talk about black business, the person that claims to run this country recently gave a speech and talked about how America invented everything, and literally everything that he mentioned was invented by a black person, literally. but we get no credit for the contributions that we've made as entrepreneurs to this country. Because regardless of whether or not you work for corporate America or not, in my mind, you're still an entrepreneur because you're still out here hustling.
Right.
And your job is tenuous at best. And so it behooves us to embrace entrepreneurship, and it behooves us to embrace partnerships, and then it behooves us to embrace an international mindset, because the reality is all of us could live much better somewhere else than we do in the United States. Mm-hmm. We have been indoctrinated into this vision that America is the only place that we can be, and that we have to set up shop and we have to live and die here.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Once you travel abroad, you have a much broader perspective that we ain't got it figured out like we think we have it figured out.
Absolutely.
All right.
And in many ways, we're very backwards here in this country.
What I'd like to do at this time, Robert, and I did something that was not planned, but my oldest son is here, world traveler, I'd like to say. So I'm going to pull this mic so he can get some words in. LaDante Prince is my oldest son. I won't tell his age because then that tells mine. But in just being a young person, doing your final year of undergrad, I was so proud of the fact that you came back speaking the language. He didn't go to Africa, Robert, or any country in Africa, but he did go to Asia. And he spent his final year of undergrad in Shanghai, where he learned the language. And the experience that he gave me, I lived vicariously through his experiences, were just, I couldn't believe it. He told me that they treated him. You tell them what. First of all, introduce yourself. Don't tell them your age, though.
Definitely. Hi, Robert, and the viewers. So my name is LaDante, and it's a pleasure to speak with you.
Pleasure to meet you, young brother.
Yeah. So basically, when I was there, it was quite a unique experience. Basically, imagine a playground where, of course, you have the Chinese, but they're kind of like what we call like the NPCs. And then you have the foreigners, and all the foreigners are from Africa. They're from Europe. Some are from America. Basically, all of the countries just coming into this place like a melting pot. And it was a quite interesting situation because no one really had any leverage against each other. The leverage that maybe they had in their home countries, it wasn't really able to be executed as well as how it was. So an example of that is I would see just like the white people, they would come thinking they have their quote unquote white privilege, and they would try to leverage it. But what I realized was that the Chinese, there was so much propaganda about just like blacks that have passed to their country as well. Like we're violent. They see us in the movies as criminals, as these like bad actors. So they immediately had that impression on me. But the advantage that I experienced was that because they had this perspective, this perception, when you actually present yourself as your actual self, that threshold from their perspective to your actual self is so great that it becomes memorable. Whereas the white individual, they already have a high expectation for them. So it's like if they're less than that expectation or they meet that expectation, they're not memorable. So what it plays out to is something I call black privilege, where you actually have an advantage by being black.
Love that.
Yeah.
So I milked that like the entire time I was there to basically get things that I wanted to get done much quicker, much faster, build a community quicker. I started
And business relationships.
With the Chinese government, with the professors, with investors. I started the first startup company in Shanghai by an international foreigner through the Tencent Makerspace. And we grew that from 3 to 300 people in just 6 months. And it was just like a big deal. And it was all because of that black privilege. So,
it was because of your character. It was because of your character.
That is outstanding. I mean, that deserves an applause. I don't know if you have one of those little things that gives applause, but oh my God, brother! I mean, you almost made me tear up. That is an incredible story.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you,
I
Robert.
was so proud of him. And one of his really good friends, and you're still listening to the Wake Up Show, guys. One of his really good friends that he graduated with, what was her? Was it Angelina?
Angelina.
Angelina, and I met her parents because they had to come to America for the graduation at U of I. And the mother said to me, and she was very comfortable saying this to me, I never met a black person, and you guys are awesome. Or she didn't say awesome. She said she was surprised at how we were. And I knew what she meant.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
but she took that back with her. Whereas in America, we are already perceived as being what America has should I say built the narrative around us no matter what. And when you come to America from any other country, you still hold on to that narrative no matter what we show you.
Yeah.
That media propaganda.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what the
Yeah.
young brother said, that propaganda exists not only in the United States, but it is the major export. The only thing that America continues to export without tariffs is racism.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and they specialize, they corner the market in exploiting racism against black folks and trying to make the rest of the world think less of us because of their insecurities and their realization of the horrors that they put us through, and yet we still are resilient. So black excellence exists everywhere on this planet, but they want to have you think that, you know, there's one or two, there can only be one, or if it happens, it's an accident. But no, that's who we are. And honestly, you know, I've been traveling to Africa a lot over the last few years, and it's interesting, you know, the rest of the world, as much as they fear us, they admire us at the same time. Because everywhere on the planet, there's nowhere on the planet that you cannot find the influence of black people.
That's right.
Whether it be through hip hop, whether it be through our food, our dress, our slang, our swag, everybody tries to emulate that. And it's a very interesting relationship because on the one hand, there's fear and loathing, but on the other hand, there's admiration and imitation. So it's very interesting, but your point that exposure changes all of that, because as much as they have been told these negative things about us, when they actually get to experience us, then we have the ability to change that narrative by demonstrating black excellence and just black joy. And I think that's part of the essence of what white people fear, is that when the world realizes who we are, and more importantly, when we realize who we are or remember who we are, the game is over.
That's right. Let me jump in and get to our callers. We don't have we don't have a lot of time, but we do have open phone lines. Guys, give us a call at 773-591-1690. I want to know what it is that you wish that the world knew about our black culture that they just won't recognize, the things that make us great. We are on day 2 of Kwanzaa. And when it comes to Kwanzaa, look, this is the day I can't pronounce. Robert, do you remember? Because I cannot. It starts with a K, but I can.
Kajalina?
Yes, I cannot say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
It's a tongue twister.
it is. I'm gonna learn it. I promise by the end of the year. But this is what makes us great. So, guys, we want you to call in and tell everybody what makes us great. We are so quick to jump on. We don't stick together. Our families are broken. We say all of that over and over again, and we start believing it. Yeah, our families are extended. Come on now, change your words. So we got Steve from the Gold Coast on the line. What's up, Steve? You're live on the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Steve.
What you got for us?
Yes, I think it's a very interesting topic. And I was wondering if you could touch on this whole narrative with regard to the divide that exists within the black community in this country and the larger world with regard to why it is that there is this split between Africans who are immigrants to this country and African Americans, and also Caribbean Americans. And there's a lot of scholarship out there on this, on why it is that they will do anything under the sun to separate themselves from African Americans and are highly critical of African American culture. And where does this come from?
I'd like to jump in on that one. And this is my passion. when it comes to that separation. Back in 2016, I did my own personal journey of what my DNA looked like. We are them, they are us. And the divide comes from the narrative that the United States continues to push, so that we believe that we are separate from them and they believe that they are separate from us. Who wants to be aligned with a culture of people that hate them? I don't know if you know this from the inside out, but when I was growing up, I was told that Africans did not like us, and we believed it. So if that's what they're telling us, then we can only imagine what Africans are being told about us. The other narrative is that we believe that we're better than them. Look at National Geographic. Do you remember back in even the 80s how they portrayed African culture? African culture was very short of anything civilized.
Hunger and starvation.
Hunger, starvation, flies on the babies' faces. That is all we saw. But then when they showed you Australian countries like Sydney, there was wealth and riches, accents even. So when we bought into that because that is what the media has taken control and shown us. That's what the books have told us, of the ones that we are presented with in education, because there are other books that we don't read. Then why would we want to?
And that's an important point, and I think that's
Yeah.
an important point, and it's certainly part of this equation
Yeah.
when we talk about this issue. But
Absolutely.
there are objective standards in terms of wealth, educational outcomes, all sorts of things that apparently Africans from the Caribbean, Africans from Africa excel at when they come to this country, as compared to what some people refer to as foundational Black Americans.
Well, we're
So
conditioned.
those are-
Well, see, we're conditioned.
Well, I mean,
We-
so let me jump in on
Thanks,
that. LaDonna.
Robert. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things is that yes, they excel. When you come to a country, you come for opportunity,
Mhm.
and the folks that come to America from Africa are usually from the upper middle class. You're not. There's no border for us to cross like Mexico, where Africans can just walk across a dry patch of land and come into the country. Those folks are coming with means, and I've already been to some of the finest schools, and not to take anything away from them whatsoever. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. They were not raised in a system that devalues education in the Black community, that underfunds our school.
Where they're intentionally targeted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all kudos to them, but because I've been educated alongside many of them until this point, they have been taught that they can come to America and take advantage of opportunities that African Americans are too lazy or too undisciplined to take advantage of, and to the same extent that the young brother was talking about, once they get exposed and they realize the history and realize the oppression that they've read about, but now they actually get to see it and experience it through folks that they now have a relationship with, they go back with a better understanding. And Africa, particularly at this point, Africa is rising. You know, somebody mentioned earlier the 54 countries in Africa, where those countries are starting to unite. And they're starting to throw off the shackles of colonialism. And uniting under one currency, one passport, getting off the petrodollar, and shaking the cobwebs out of their eyes about this story that's being told about us not being able to work together, that we're different, that white people, that this white supremacy notion that has ruled for centuries. And so I think a lot less of that is going to be palatable, because the difference is now we have the internet.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you can tell somebody something and it might take months for it to get to somebody else, or there was not ways to disprove this, or you didn't see examples of Black excellence. So the notion of that we have of Africa that was, mentioned earlier about the flies on the babies and all of that. Now you can travel to Africa, or you can go on Instagram or some other forum, and you can see that African cities look better than U.S. cities.
Say that.
That they have technology that we don't have over here. And so the notion that Africa is primitive is a farce. Africa, the places that I've been to in Africa have been more sophisticated and had services and products and a standard of living better than the U.S. So as we get more exposure to each other, that narrative is going to be much harder, and that propaganda is going to be much harder to sell.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, Robert, one thing that we have to do as a Black community or culture, we have to travel to Africa ourselves. Mm-hmm. We cannot 100%. Live vicariously through your experience or anything else. We always want to go to the European countries when we go on vacation. If you look at people on social media, they always post, I've gone here, I've gone there, Dubai, they've gone everywhere but Ghana. Okay, and Nigeria and other African countries, I should say. We gotta go.
And I'm tired of seeing pictures of the Eiffel Tower.
Right.
You know,
I went to France. I went to Italy. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Africa. I've never seen more natural beauty on this planet than I've seen in Africa. I mean, I stood on a cloud and I stood in a cloud in Table Mountain. I watched the sun rise over Victoria Falls. I mean,
what's the original name of Victoria Falls?
I know you were going to ask me that.
I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, and so in terms of natural beauty, and then in terms of comfort, you know, people are struggling over here just to make ends see each other. They don't even meet. They see each other from a distance. So whatever it is that you're making over here, you know, you can live like a king or queen in Africa for a couple $1,000s a month. Not only have a better standard of living, better accommodations, have folks that clean your house, cook, drive you, and just not deal with the stress and the pressure and the otherness of being here in the United States. And so, to your point, LaDonna, folks really need to travel there to see that there's a different way of life, that there's, I mean, the first time I went to Africa, my mind couldn't comprehend seeing Black people everywhere, on TV, on news, running everything. I mean, like literally, your mind, as growing up in America, your mind can't comprehend a Black world where everything is Black.
And to have
it took me like a month to readjust coming back to America.
Right. And I can imagine that, you know, and just having that better level of acceptance.
Not only acceptance, to the young brother's point, I mean, in a lot of places, when you come, just like the caller said, you know, when people come over here, when you go to Africa as an African American, they assume you're rich. First of all, you're American. So technically you are, because the average, you know, the average person does not make the same salary as somebody in America or have the same, you know, because of the buying power of the dollars, you are quite rich. So you are treated very differently when you go to Africa, because one, you're American, then you're African American, so they figure you got to be rich if you coming from as a Black person coming to Africa, and they recognize that you're enlightened. Every time I go to Africa, the first thing I hear is welcome home. And the second thing is, why don't more of your brothers and sisters come home?
And let me say this real quick as we come close to our close, is as we come upon 2026, everybody that's listening and watching, I want to challenge everyone, because you mentioned the internet, Robert, is, I would like to see us, not focus on how we're going to present ourselves on the global stage and pushing on how people perceive us on the global stage. And I just challenge everybody, when you're scrolling, just to do some window shopping in Africa.
I like that.
Do some window shopping, because like you said, the internet is probably one of the most powerful tools that we have right now. Maybe you can't make that trip today, but you can get on the internet and do some scrolling and window shopping.
I found out you can make payments on your trips now.
Okay, there you go. There you have
it. You can make monthly payments on your trips.
Yep, you sure can. But that's an excellent point. You can train your Instagram, because everybody's IG or Facebook is trained based on what you search.
Yep.
Start search, instead of searching Maldives, put in Seychelles. Seychelles look just like Maldives, but it's in Africa, or a place in Ghana or Ethiopia. I mean, you're going to see incredible cities that you've never, that in restaurants and nightlife yachts. I mean, all of the things that we, try to flex about over here, they got it in Africa.
Yeah.
Like I said, the folks in Africa that are rich are rich. The richest black man in the world is in Africa. Out of the 15 or so billionaires, 6 of them are in Africa.
I wonder,
6 or 7 of them are from Africa.
I wonder what America would look like if all 45 million black folks moved to Africa.
Wow.
It would come to a grinding halt.
Come to a grinding halt. Watch this. We got a couple of comments, but I want to make sure that I stand on my word. The original name of Victoria Falls, you're going to have to help me. Is it Mosi Atunya?
Yeah, Mosi Atunya.
All right. That's the original name, and that means the smoke that thunders. We got a couple of comments up here before we close out. I don't have time to read them because it's a lot. However, I want to close out with, I know that you talked about the Political Action Committee. We tied it together with the internet. There are 12 committees on the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce's roster that we did not get to. However, we can go over that next week for the beginning of the year. But what can people walk away with now that we've talked about holding our politicians accountable in this year end and this upcoming election, and possibly elevating our relationship with African countries, or should I say trade or international trade in Africa? Can we tie those two together, or should we work inward, outward?
No, 100%. We need to tie them together because that's what the agenda is focused on. So for those, what folks should walk away with is this concept of unity, and a call to action to help us shape the Black agenda, the Black agenda for the diaspora. So we're looking for folks who want to be a part of the PAC, to make contributions, to help us shape the agenda, to help us identify additional coalition partners. And so 2026 is our time, because we are working to develop a Project 2028. We've all suffered under Project 2025. So what is our counter proposal and our counter attack strategy? Mm-hmm. And so we need those who are committed, those who are thinkers, collaborators, and conspirators to help us push back against the sanctions, as I called them earlier, that have been levied against us, so that we can thrive.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to slide in, but I'm getting that blinking red light that our time is come to an end. Guys, thank you for tuning into the Wake Up Show Chicago here each and every Saturday on WVON 1690. This is the last show of the year, guys.
Yeah.
The next time we come back, it will be 2026.
Yes.
But make sure you tune in each and every Saturday. And I'll be back on Monday on the afternoon show. But make sure you go to ilbcc.org and get information on membership, trade, international, all of our committees, all of that stuff. Robert, I want to thank you. Attorney Robert Johnson. I'm sorry, you're a friend of mine, but Attorney Robert Johnson, thank you so much for bringing it and connecting the dots on the PAC part. We had Aaron Gunn on the line. And thank you so much, Lorenzo T. Hughes and LaDante Prince, my son. And I am LaDonna Ray. It's time for me to get out of here. Bye-bye 2025. Bye-bye for now.
Chicago. Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years.